And Pam, she's not here today, but Father Rodney for hosting us. It's got to be at least 3 years now. And he's one of the real supporters of our organization. And Pam comes and most times does the breakfast. You know, it's we're very lucky to have a nice place to come and meet. So I'd like to, you know, we've given out the pantry passes, so most of you have those. But at this time, I wanted to just see if Father Rodney would come up. You know, we're getting into the time of year where we're thankful for things. So just thought Father Rodney could come up and just give us a little blessing. Can't hurt.
Let us pray. God, we give thanks for this glorious morning and this opportunity to come together. We give thanks for this gift of life. And especially this time of year, may we be thankful for our many blessings, known and unknown. May it so move us to build up one another, to assist one another, and be thankful for the many gifts that we have. Be with us in our time together, our conversations. Bless all who are here and their families and those who will be at St. Catherine's shortly. And bless this food and the hands that prepared it. And for all of our blessings, we give thanks. Amen.
Thank you. Thank you, Father Rodney. Bill is going to hand these handouts out. I apologize. I'm not the greatest person on the computer, so I just hand wrote it out. The important part isn't how nice it looks, it's the information in the pages. I'm just going to say one thing more about St. Matthew's and the church here. It's a wonderful place. I'm not a member of this group, but I have a grandson that goes here with autism and couldn't be more thrilled with the compassionate place that this is. So if any of you are looking for a home, I'm not a big believer in organized religion, but I kind of think that if all of us take a little bit of time each week to reflect, you know, the friends, they go and they sit in an empty room, but they reflect for an hour. It can't hurt. And it might help. So the one thing I'm going to start out is giving these out. The Horsham Interfaith, we work with the Ambler and Willow Grove Wise and in free coat giveaways. So the automobile dealers of Philadelphia and Pennsylvania give out a lot of coats each year. So Horsham Interfaith gets a lot of coats we give out through our clothes bank at Riverside. But the two different Wise get rid of coats also give out. And they're having a free party today right on McKean Road. So less than 5 minutes from here. It's a Halloween trunk or treat, and they've got a lot of kid activities. So I'm going to pass this out. If you have time and you want to do something, a nice little fall activity in the afternoon, feel free to go over there. You don't have to be a member. It's open to everybody. Or if you have neighbors that know about it, or you know, family to share it with. And we will be giving out winter coats through the Horsham Interfaith in November, December, and January. as a group, the Horsham Interfaith Coalition is doing pretty good. We're getting more churches involved. Fortunately, we have enough money right now, not a whole lot, but we got enough. We just bought about 200 pairs of underwear to give out at our clothes bank. We've been giving out free socks. What we really need are people. So if you have a talent or you want to help us in some way, I hope you'll consider joining us. And I would invite you to go to our website, horshaminterfaith.com, and list all the different things that we have. So today we're going to talk about how to try to save money on prescription drugs. I know a little bit about this, but certainly I'm not an expert. A couple of years ago, I'm going to sit down, it's okay. A couple of years ago, we had a fellow that owned a local pharmacy come in, Tom Friedman, and he talked about PACE and PACENet, which is a state of Pennsylvania program. Tom owned the pharmacy at Norristown Road and Horsham Road, and then recently he sold that. So he couldn't, he's retired now, he's not in the community to do that. So we had another person that was going to come, and she couldn't get coverage, but the person, you'll see the business card for the person, Chrissy View, and it's right on Horsham Road, near the Giant supermarket, and Christy lives here in Maple Glen, and is more than willing to help any of you with ways you can save money on your prescriptions. She's a really nice person. So you'll see her number, but what I wanted to say is, again, I'm no expert. Hopefully what I tell you is correct and true. If it's not, I apologize, but I'm not trying to mislead anybody. But if you know of other things yourself that work to get lower prices, please let the group know. Alrighty, on to the next page. There's different ways that we get our prescription drugs. Many times if we work, we have health insurance, like group health insurance, and it comes with part of your employee benefits. And a lot of people get their prescriptions through the group health insurance. However, if you don't have group health insurance, then you got to figure out another way to pay for the cost of the prescriptions rather than just handing over your whole wallet to the pharmacist. There's Medicaid, there's Medicare, there's various Pennsylvania programs that are funded by the state lottery for senior citizens, which are income, you have to make under a certain amount of money to qualify for these programs. But then there are also things beyond that. Even if you make over a certain amount of money, there's still government programs that can help us. There's something called, when you get on Medicare, when you get to be 65, you go on Medicare. And Medicare gives you hospital insurance, and then you get doctor insurance, Part A and Part B. And then there's something called Part D, where you pay a premium, but you get your prescriptions at a lower cost. Many of the routine type of prescriptions cost nothing, or 40 cents for a 90-day supply. But many of the prescriptions like inhalers or, the real expensive things you see advertised on TV, you get them for a reduced cost. The one thing is, if anybody, I don't know much about Medicaid per se. I'm assuming they cover prescriptions, but I really don't know much about that. If anybody does know about that, or I'm sure that you can get more information, but I know the people that are on Medicaid probably get the prescriptions that they need. but I don't know the ins and outs of it. And then there's also what's called discount programs. So if you go to your pharmacist and you have group health insurance, or you have Medicare, or you have some kind of plan that will pay for the drugs, there's also these things. You've seen Cost Plus is Mark Cuban, the guy on the Shark Tank. That's his program. There's Good RX. So it's really weird. Bill was saying the complications of going into the pharmacy and getting your prescription at a reasonable cost. Well, you may have health insurance, and you go in and they say, well, that's going to be $40 that you're going to have to pay. And you're like, yeah, I don't really want to pay $40. Is there any other way I can get it cheaper than $40? So there's these, like not Cost Plus, but Good RX. You might be able to run it through their program, it's no charge, and get that prescription for $23. That makes no sense. You have health insurance, you have Medicare. You would think, okay, but these kind of companies offer discounts. The other thing that the companies do is they will give you like a 90-day supply for $5, but you have to sign up for that. But the thing I'm really going to say is just don't assume that when you go into the pharmacy and they tell you it's X dollars, you got to go back and say, hey, what can you suggest that we can save a little money here? And I think in general, pharmacists are nice, compassionate people. The ones that I've met in my life seem to be, and they have hard jobs, they're fighting against the CVS's of the world and the Walgreens of the world. So, they generally, the local owners, just the man or woman, that's their own business, they want to keep you happy. So you come back there instead of going to the CVS. All right, let's go on to the next thing. The one thing, if you want to ask questions or you have ideas to share, just jump in anytime. Again.
One thing I found out, my doctor was able to find a place that I could get the prescription cheaper. I'm just starting this whole Medicare process, and I'm without insurance until Medicare kicked in.
Yes.
And I had to get a prescription, and I was like, told how much it was, but she was able to send it somewhere else. So I would say ask your doctor.
Okay, that's a good idea. Yeah, they know because they see a wide range of people from many different backgrounds. So, and obviously the doctor wants you to be on that prescription. It's not going to help him or you if you're not. And, it's like anything else. A little bit of preventive care for the right pill is going to save a lot of hospital bills down the road.
I have a question. Say like Good RX here.
Yes.
They'll save you money, but how do they make money?
You know what? I don't 100% know that, but they got to be making money because they're advertising. I guess, they volume, or maybe they have contracts with the manufacturer to get it for a lower price.
Okay, that sounds like.
That's the only thing that I could think of. But I know personally where I went in, and it was a stupid thing called folic acid, which you can buy over the counter, but I would rather run things through the drug plan if I can get it cheaper than paying out of pocket over the counter. Well, the folic acid prescription at CVS was $17. And when it went through Good RX, it was $5. Now, that $12 isn't a whole heck of a lot, but, over the course of a year, that's $150. So it really does add up.
It's volume in a contract, because Good RX goes to the manufacturers and they say, look, we have this many people who use GoodRx, and we would like them to use, would you like us to use your, product under the plan? So the manufacturer says, yeah, and this is the deal we'll offer you, so
Right.
that's basically the way it works, it's a combination of volume and a contract.
Sure.
A contract with the pharmaceutical company.
Sure. I do want to go back, thank you for mentioning that. I do want to go back and tell everybody, the doctor may say you're on, I don't know, warfarin or something. It's a blood pressure thinner type thing. And they have the name brand drug. But there's a lot of generics out there. So if you ask your own doctor to write the prescription to be a generic as opposed to the brand name, you're going to save a lot of money that way. Or sometimes the pharmacist has the leeway to substitute a generic.
That's under federal law, it's automatic now.
Oh, is it?
Unless the doctor specifically says only name brand can be used.
Yeah.
Which almost never happens.
Right.
And they choose a.
Yeah, I noticed that on the prescription pad, you know, it does say that.
So it's automatic now.
Yeah, and you know, 9 out of 10 times, the generic probably works just as well as the name brand. They're all highly regulated, you know, they're gonna get the right amount of the right medicine in that pill for you. So, generics in general will save money, but to move along here, we mentioned that certain manufacturers have these programs when they advertise on TV. They say, if you can't afford this drug, we have a program that you'll pay $5 or $10 for, you know, for an initial 3 months supply. So if your drug happens to be on there, try to take advantage. Now, if you have a group employer insurance, if you're getting your prescriptions through your job benefit, you probably have a copay, you probably have a deductible, and you may have to pay out of pocket. But you can reduce those costs by various programs that are out there, such as PACE and PaceNet, these discount programs that we just talked about, GoodRx, and there's another one called Single Care, that's a pretty big one. AARP has one, CVS has one, but they're the big ones. Or you pay cash. But the biggest thing I'd stress is comparison shop. I would be a little leery about getting drugs online, and drugs from Canada or drugs from other countries. You never know what's in there. Alrighty. We talked about the next page, Medicaid. Again, I don't know that much about Medicaid, but I am suspecting that people have the Medicaid card and they go into their pharmacy and they get their drugs for a little or no amount of money. Okay, the next thing, some of us are starting to get close to the magic number of 65, where we go on Medicare. And I have been on Medicare for about 6 years now. It's real good. We're very lucky as a country to have Medicare for older people. So I would tell you 2 things about Medicare. As you get closer to 65 and you're ready to go on Medicare, educate yourself, okay? There's a lot of different ways to sign up for it. You want to make sure you sign up for it correctly. There's probably a lot of fraud in there. You know, you see Joe Namath advertising, you know, Medicare Advantage programs on TV, and well, I like Joe, I'll sign up for that. So you just got to be real careful. But you have Medicare, which pays for your health costs. When you go to the doctor, that's called Part B. So Medicare will pick up most 80% of that doctor's bill. And then there's something called a supplemental plan or a Medigap plan where you pay extra money each month to cover that 20%. So I had 2 bad back operations within the last 5 years, probably $300,000 worth of hospital bills and nursing home bills. I never got billed because I had this thing called a supplement. You know, now I had to pay a couple $100 a month to have that supplement, but you have to be very careful. I caution you when you get to be near 65, these Medicare Advantage programs that they advertise the heck out of, you gotta be real careful because they tell you we're gonna give you free dental and free eyeglasses, and we're even gonna give you money to pay for some food, or we're gonna put some money back in your Social Security check. Well, that's all well and good, but at the end of the day, somebody's paying for that. What they don't tell you is, well, you sign up for your Medicare Advantage, we'll pay 80% of that big medical bill, but the other 20% is on you. So when you signed up for the program, you know, they didn't really tell you that. You know, in life I learned that the big print, free, gives, and the small print takes away. So just remember that they're trying to make money like everybody else. The hustle in America is, you know, and they don't care if they ruin people's lives in the meantime. You know, put them in hock or, you know, so.
I can explain about something.
Yes.
So you have Medicare, but if you have Medicaid too, the 20% is paid for Medicaid.
Good point. And that's called something called dual eligible.
I have no idea.
Yeah, they have a term called, I know, dual eligible, where you have both Medicare
And Medicaid.
and Medicaid. So that's beautiful. That's, you probably couldn't get better insurance for that than that, right? They pay darn near everything.
Everything.
So you qualify for Medicare because of age.
Yeah, I'm almost 73.
That, you would have fooled me.
Yeah.
And you
Okay.
qualify for Medicaid.
Do I look 80?
Huh?
Do I look 80?
No, I do. No, you look younger than 73. So you qualified for Medicaid for some other reason you're able to
Since
get.
62, Medicare and Medicaid.
Yeah.
So Medicaid pays for everything, the prescriptions, if it's a generic, you just pay $1.30. And if it's not, it's like $1.50.
Yeah, that's good.
Things change every year, so
Right.
we never know what's the next year gonna be, so.
Yep,
Excuse me, I have a question.
yes.
You might not want to answer this, but I want to ask you, of the advantage plans, which one do you think is the best?
None.
I gotta tell you, I don't know, because one of the things that people told me is if you have a lot of health issues, don't even think about Medicare Advantage, just go with traditional Medicare. So I've never investigated that. I mean, it is tempting to sign up for them because maybe I have no premium, or they're gonna give you free dental, or they're gonna give you free glasses, or they're gonna give you some money for food. So it is tempting, but you know how it is.
Yeah.
It all equals out in the end, but I don't know, like if you have Medicare Part B, the government tells every insurance company you have to pay the same. So regardless of who you sign up for Medicare Part B, they're all gonna be covered at the same, everything's gonna be covered the same. Medicare Advantage may be different.
Because I know, I heard this on the TV or something, the advantage plan, a lot of the companies are, if you, I myself went to urgent care, and it was a life-threatening thing.
Right.
But they refused to pay the bill, and I heard this is the big thing, they're always refusing to pay the bills. True. Did you ever-
Yeah, they don't wanna pay.
No, it's money in, no money out.
That's loss.
Yeah, but that you don't find that when you have a regular supplemental thing.
Correct.
Okay.
So yeah, it costs you maybe a couple $100 a month for the supplemental plan, but you never have to worry. I
And I think
mean,
as you get older, if you decide to switch,
It's
it
harder.
costs more money.
yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing when you sign up for Medicare, there's certain plans. Apparently, the best one is called Plan G. And again, that covers just about everything. So don't be, I know it sounds like I'm trying to sell against Medicare Advantage, just know what you're signing up for. You know, read all the things, understand what you're getting. The government now is starting to crack down on some of the Medicare Advantage plans because many of them are fraudulent, you know. Maybe they're not fraudulent, but the way they try to sell them to you is, you know, they just don't tell you all the stuff.
Well, and it's free, but I also heard that the government, a lot of people don't know this, they infused those advantage plans with money this year because they were gonna start charging people. Instead of being zero, they're gonna start charging people. So they didn't want that to happen, so they infused them with money. People quiet.
Yeah,
For a couple months.
exactly.
The other important thing to jump in here is, and it affects me, is if you're 65 but you're still working full-time, the rules are if the company has 15 or more people and insurance is available to everybody, you do not have to sign up for Medicare. I can't retire and get full retirement till I'm 66 in 10 months, which is, you know, just like every person who's below a certain age now, the full retirement goes up.
Yeah.
So you do not, and once you do retire, you have 9 months to, once you lose your coverage, like you decide to retire, you have 9 months to sign up for a Medicare plan with no penalty.
Right.
So that's the rules. Like I work for the Philadelphia Housing Authority, and while our pay is not the best in the world, because it's a quasi-government agency, just like any government agency or quasi-government agency, we have tremendous benefits.
No,
Not-
yeah.
Not the greatest pay in the world, but very good insurance.
I agree.
Like like a visit to the emergency room is $15 for me. Who gets that? My last company, it was $150, you know, for a visit there.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, you're right about you work for some places, you make a little less money, many government jobs.
and quasi.
And you may even get a pension, which pensions are even
Ours
unheard
is
of.
not a true pension, but it equates to the same thing.
Yeah,
They eliminated the pension system in our company, but they created an annuity system. So, like, I've only been there for about 3 years, and if I were to retire at the age of 67, which is pretty much what my date is, 66 and 10 months, I'll get $211 a month for the rest of my life.
right.
And that's for only
3
4 years of work.
Of service, right. So if you work 30 years,
Yeah.
you're gonna get a very good pension. I have a friend who works for the government and his pension, and he tells me he can't spend it all. It's like, oh boy, what a problem that is. You know? So,
I heard that this is true. If you get an advantage plan and then you switch later to a supplemental plan, and can you go back to the advantage plan if you can't afford it well?
Yeah.
Can you do that, go back again?
I think there's some rules about that, I don't know. I do know that when I signed up for my supplemental plan, I had stayed with them because I have diabetes and COPD and, you know, I check all the boxes, you have this, you have that. And for me, the cost when I first signed up was reasonable. But if I was to go out and shop now, what's costing me $200 probably would cost me $700 or $800.
But can you go?
So I want to change.
An advantage plan to a supplemental, then decide you can't afford it? Can you go back to the?
Yeah, I don't know, but there are some rules in that area where you might be able to switch once or something, but, you're also open to underwriting again. So they review, in the beginning, they have to give it to you. When you first reach your retirement age and the health benefits, they have to give that to you. But if you jump out and jump back in, then they can review all your medical conditions.
Probably the Office of the Aging or something would have more information.
That probably is, yes. And I'm gonna get to that part in a little bit.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so what I want to give out next is this program called PACE and PACENet. They're funded by the Pennsylvania Lottery. So all the profits that the Pennsylvania Lottery generates, so we'll have one here, Bill, and then
We need one there.
Bill, here's. Bill, here's another piece. All right, so the lady that was here last month, Melissa Serrata, the state representative, she put out a little blurb on PACE and PACENet. This other book, the PACE and PACE program, net program, sent to me. So, you need more?
For this one.
One more? Okay. There are income limits for both PACE and PACENet. But what I urge you to do is apply. The income limits aren't really that low. So in here, it's going to tell you about the PACE and PACENet programs, and there's also applications. So basically, I would say apply. Tell them your income, be honest, put the right number down, and they'll get back to you. And if you don't qualify for PACE, you may qualify for PACENet. So say there's a limit of 20 or 25,000 to qualify for PACE. The income limit for PACENet may be 35 or 40,000. So you might as well apply. All they can do is say no. So I would encourage you to do that. But for example, when I first turned 65, that first year that I retired, I didn't have a whole lot of money coming in. So I decided, okay, let me apply. So I was on it for 6 months, and the next year when I tried again, you make too much money, you can't be on. So, but it had a benefit for a short term. So I would advise you to take advantage of applying. Again, all they can say is no. And from what I understand, if you have an expensive medicine and you're on this PACE or PACENet program, a generic is $8 and the brand name is $15, regardless if the prescription costs $500 or $200, you only pay $8 or you pay $15. So I would say join this. And even if you're retired and you have health benefits from your company, you should apply. I mean, this is a government program. It's not like we're trying to milk the system. These are legitimate programs that all of us have qualified for by working for years, and you might as well apply and see if you can get it. Now, if you apply and they turn you down and say, oh no, you make too much money. And guess what? They kind of know how much money we make from our, W-2s and taxes and, so you really can't get away with things. So you be honest, and if you do make a little too much money, there's a third program called the Clearinghouse. And I think I put that on the bottom of the program. So say you apply for PACE, and you apply for PACE-Net, and you get turned down, there is called Clearinghouse, and this is a program that various pharmaceutical manufacturers work with the state of Pennsylvania, that you can somehow still get some more assistance. All right.
Mike, I just want to interject something here. I don't have personal involvement in the PACE thing, but my dad has it. And it's really important when you go to pick up the prescription, because what's happened when I picked up prescriptions for my dad, it came out to $89 or something like that. And I said, did you run this through both his insurance and the PACE? Oh, no, we didn't. And then, so you sort of have to be on the ball.
Yeah, and then instead of that 89, how much was it, 8 or 15?
I don't remember, but I just remember thinking, it seemed like an awful lot of money. And I thought, oh my God, my dad pays this every month. Because he always picked up his own prescriptions.
Right.
But, so I called my dad, he said, I'll make sure that they put it through the PACE. And, because it's right there on his, I guess, his profile.
Yeah, they give you a card.
They're supposed to.
They give you a PACE card.
But they also have it in your profile. So
Yes,
if you
at
want
the
to-
pharmacy.
And if they don't, then you're.
And I think that's a good thing when you're standing at the counter ready to get your prescription and pay. That's when you say, well, did you run it through PACE?
Right, well,
Did you run it through GoodRx? They'll be a little annoyed with you for a couple minutes, but they'll do that, and then they'll realize that, it's in their best interest not to run it through certain programs, but, you're entitled to it, so you might as well take advantage. And if they want you as a customer, they'll treat you nice. That's all. So,
The same thing applies to regular insurance. My father had retirement insurance from the school system. Plus, he had Medicare Advantage, a Medicare Advantage plan. So you have to they have to run it through your regular insurance first.
Okay.
And then you run it through the government or the Medicare Advantage.
okay.
So you gotta make sure you tell them to do both, or
Right.
sometimes they don't.
Or even third case, whether it be PACE-Net or GoodRx, because one would think that if he had insurance and he had Medicare Advantage, he'd be getting the best price.
Yeah,
And then, oh no, GoodRx comes along and it's gonna be $10 cheaper. Doesn't make any sense, does it? It's too confusing. But, advocate for yourself. $10 for you is better than $10 for them.
Mine they're never gonna beat mine. Mine is a maximum of $5 under my insurance.
Well, that's
So nobody's ever gonna beat that.
Yeah.
And that's the maximum. A lot of
And
them-
that's a great benefit that you have.
Yeah, a lot of them are $2,
Yeah, exactly. So, okay, so the next page up the top, it talks about Part D plans, and we talked a little bit about that. So I have right now at the Part D prescription, and I get them through CVS or I get through mail order. Usually you can get a 30-day supply at your local corner pharmacy, or you can get 90-day supply through mail order. And it's very convenient, it comes in your mailbox, but you do have to pay for that. And it could be anywhere from 15 or 20 bucks a month premium to 80 or 90 bucks, 100 bucks a month premium. But it's kind of like this, if you pay a higher premium, your co-pays are lower. If you pay a lower premium, like $10, your co-pays are gonna be higher. But a lot of the real routine medicine that some of us take for cholesterol or high blood pressure, those drugs are so common that they're dirt cheap to get. So, you want to shop around for Part D plans. When you do get, now, Part C, what they call Part C is Medicare Advantage. Okay, so you have Part A in Medicare, that takes care of you at the hospital. You have Part B, which takes care of you at the doctor's office. You have Part C, which is your Medicare Advantage plans, and they are a combination of health insurance and a prescription plan. And then there's Part D, which are standalone prescription plans. So in my case, I pay a little extra besides that supplement that I pay for to have a Part D. So again, it makes my prescription cost lower. I just want to again caution you on these Advantage plans. If you don't go to the doctor very often, they could be a very good deal. But you want to know what you're signing up for. If you go into the doctor a lot, they can really whack you.
Part A, B, C, and D.
I have Part A, B, and D.
Okay, A, B,
I didn't-
and D, and B, C.
I didn't do Medicare Advantage, Part C. Only because people said if you go to the doctor a lot, don't get the Advantage because you'll get hit with co-pays and deductibles.
What covers your dental and your vision? I mean, your dental and your vision. Part D.
Say again?
What covers your dental and your vision?
Nothing. If traditional Medicare doesn't cover dental and prescription. So if I have to get glasses or go to the dentist, I have to pay that out of pocket.
Okay.
But if you have a Medicare Advantage, they do pay that. Okay, so in some cases, it could be better. You just want to know what you're getting into before you sign up for it. You don't want to get surprise bills later. That's all I'm saying.
I know that, I can probably go do my job as more, but I always believe, like I said, I mean, you're gonna pay up front and everything's taken care of. I pay something low and then I'm surprised.
Yeah, I'd rather pay more up front and not be surprised later than pay a little bit and then get a big surprise. So, the other thing I'm gonna say is, there's something called the donut hole, or catastrophic coverage. You've probably heard on the news that if you have diabetes, they're gonna reduce the price of the diabetes insulin to $35 a month maximum. A lot of the other drugs have come down in price with some of the changes that have been made to the laws. But this year, 2025 coming up, your maximum out-of-pocket expense is going to be $2,000. A couple of years ago, it was $5,000. So people were on very expensive heart medicines, or a lot of times the inhalers, they're pricey. If you have asthma or COPD or other type of breathing problems, the inhalers can be very expensive. So just know what you're getting into. But next year, the maximum amount of pocket you're going to pay is $2,000. Again, redefine print. Alrighty. So we have what's called now open enrollment for Medicare. It runs now through about December 5th. And you can decide, am I going to stay with the plan that I have, or am I going to try to shop around and get a new Part B or a supplemental Medigap plan, or am I going to, get a new prescription plan? So you shop around, but insurance broker, if you give an insurance broker the list of medicines that you're on, they have like calculators that can determine how much it's going to cost you. You know, it's good to know what it's gonna cost you each month, but you also wanna know, okay, if I go to the pharmacy and I spend this much, how much is my total cost at the end of the year? That's really what you're trying to make your decision on. What's it gonna cost me at the end of the year to get all the prescriptions that I need? Medicare also, if you go online, you can, Medicare.gov, you can go online, put all your prescriptions in there, and they will calculate how much it's gonna cost you. You tell them, okay, I take this strength, and I take it once a day, or I take it twice a day, and the computer will calculate for you how much it's gonna cost. Now, you supply your own list of medications. So you tell them which drugs you're on. And if you're on a lot of little common things, it's not gonna cost you a lot. But if you're on an expensive thing, it could cost you a lot. We talked about already about the discount programs. You know, it's worth it to talk to the pharmacist. And then once you use one of these, then you'll know the next time you go back, you say to the pharmacist, did you run that through Pace Now? Did you run that through GoodRx? Did you run it through something? So that you don't get that $89 prescription, you get a $15 prescription. All right, there's on to the next thing. There's other health programs available to help us. There's what's called Pennsylvania RX Price Finder. They have an 800 number. You can call in, it's run by the state of Pennsylvania, and they'll help you find a low price prescription. And then there's RX Med Help, and there's the phone number for that. So what I want to do, Bill, is, if you don't mind, maybe, this is the phone number and card for Christy View, who owns the Horsham Pharmacy. You call her or you walk in and she'll help you as best she can. One more time. This is a GoodRx card. Keep it in your wallet. When you go to the pharmacy, say, hey, run it this way. It doesn't make any difference on the cost.
Just about every pharmacy has that.
Yes.
They have it, well, I've seen it with my Rite Aid. They have it sticking up there where you can pull one out.
And you use it right then?
Yeah.
You know, it's not-
Yeah, I know Rite Aid has it.
All right, so we're actually on the last slide. When I was putting this together, I was afraid I was going to be done in 10 minutes, and we'd all sit here twiddling our thumbs. But these are other free help in the area of health. Father Rodney was nice enough to point out a good Pennsylvania website called Navigate, and it's for health and social needs. So you go to www.pa.navigate.org, and you can find a lot of helpful tips on social services, housing, health needs, things like that. The other thing that Melissa Serrata pointed out was this thing called PA Medi. I have never encountered it yet. There's a couple here. There's 4 for that table. There's 2 more. Again, I never had experience with this, but the state rep thought it was a good program for us. The bottom line is, it's up to you. You know, if you wanna go blindly and give them your wallet, that's fine. If you wanna try to save a few pennies here and there. I'm out of the academy, so. you can get-
Next time it's right after this.
Yeah, I know, it's like this, and you want to make sure that you- but just write the number down. So, I guess I'm gonna close by saying, we need volunteers. And guess what? When you volunteer to help other people, you know what happens? You feel better about yourself. Because we realize that really we have life pretty good. You know, life could be a lot worse. You know, here in the United States, and God help you born in another country, life could be a lot worse. So we'll take, everybody has talents, you know, to share with people. So we'll take any volunteers that want to do. So other than that, I don't really have anything unless you have questions. Good. All right. Next month, the talk will be by the banker from the WSFS Bank on Line Pike and Welsh Road. So he'll be coming in and talking about how to save money on banking services, how you have to go back to fees, things like that.
Thank you so much.
Hey.